Thanks very much, Valen. Yes, and a very, very good morning to you on this Youth Day, June 16th. We're coming to you live from Freedom Park. And, on a day like this, we look back to the youth in 1976. We look back at this day in history, at what happened, a devastating mark in our history. But I suppose a turning point when it came to, when we saw the fight against apartheid and the youth taking a stand against the circumstances of the day. Well, as we stand here in 2015, I think when you look at the circumstances of the day facing the youth, perhaps we need another generation of 1976, and that is exactly what the government is really calling for. They want the youth to get involved in all issues that are surrounding the youth and what the youth face, and that's what we're here to talk about at Freedom Park. It's quite a significant venue that we're broadcasting from. All around us, the names of fallen heroes in apartheid, those soldiers that lost their lives fighting for the freedom that our country has. And perhaps you can hear in the background a bit of shouting, a bit of prayer. Well, that's what's happening right now. We've got an interfaith prayer service that's taking place. There's a couple of young members inside there that are, I suppose, praising in the way that they do to the God that they worship. Well, this morning, let's get the government perspective. And I've got Pamela Williams with me. She's the governmental spokesperson from GCI. So she's just going to talk about where governments put the youth and their priorities as well, particularly on this Youth Day. Good to see you, Pamela. Thank you very much for being with us.
Good morning, Leanne, and good morning to the viewers at home. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
In my introduction, I'm sure you heard me saying that the government would love to see the youth of 2015, as the youth of 1976 did, standing up for those things that they don't agree with and that are affecting them. What would you like to see the youth doing in this day and age?
Leanne, I think maybe to start with, I think you should reflect and pay homage to the young lions that took us to this day in 1976, 39 years ago. I think we owe what we have today to the young people who took a stand that it is not going to happen. And I think the freedom that we're beginning to cherish today is as a result of those young people who began to say something has to change in South Africa. And we are saying today we are celebrating, and we are also beginning to engage the young people of today, 39 years later, and some of them, they don't even have an indication of what really it took for the freedom that they are beginning to enjoy today. So I think it's a day, in fact, one should say that as a government, we're saying the month of June is a month where we're beginning to engage young people, to educate young people about the significance of June 16, but importantly to begin to get them involved in the challenges that they have. Because I think one has to say that the challenges that the young people are facing today are not necessarily the same challenges that we as young people at the time were facing. So it is a time where we want them to take a pledge and say, we want to emulate what happened in 1976 by changing the circumstances that we face today. For instance, the young people today are facing the challenges of unemployment. They are facing the challenges of drugs. But I think as government, we cannot even begin to say that we can tackle this problem without really taking young people along with us, because I think we are of the view that some of the young people, or a lot of them, have got great ideas that we can work with and begin to take South Africa forward using the young people, because I think South Africa is only going to be where we want it to be by making sure that we begin to engage this generation, because the generation of 1976, probably 20 years, they probably will be pensioners or whatever. So I think it is important that we use these events to start getting young people involved in resolving some of the challenges that they have. And this is the best moment in June to begin to reflect on those challenges.
It certainly is, but if we look back to the youth in 1976, a lot of the issues were beyond their control. We look here in 2015, unemployment, of course, is I suppose one of the biggest issues that are facing the youth now. But there's also the curse of drugs, of alcohol, of, self-inflicted things in the youth of today that I suppose challenges that they need to take responsibility for themselves as well. Is that a message government is trying to push forward as well? Take responsibility for your lives?
You're correct in saying that the challenges that we had in 1976 were different, because we were dealing with a very, very violent system. The government of the day at the time responded by killing young people. Today we are saying, as government, we want to work with you. We understand that you are having challenges, but we as government, we are saying we want to help you to come up with solutions. For instance, we've done a lot in terms of education. We understand that there are such challenges of young people who are not able to go to universities. We've introduced what we call the FET colleges to make sure that we begin to create a bridging, so that the young people of today who are not able to make it to universities, they are able to get technical skills. We've introduced funds for young entrepreneurial students that want to begin to start businesses. So we are there with some facilities that we were saying, come work with us and make sure that you achieve. But I think the most important thing is the youth themselves. Mm-hmm. You can come up with all these interventions, but if the young people do not want to take the bait, and there's not much. So we want to use the June 16 to say, in the same way, even with the issue of drugs, we can come up with all the interventions of saying, let us help you to wean you off the drug. But if you are not willing to say, yes, I have a drug problem. So I think this whole engagement is important for us.
Yeah. It's a taking responsibility issue. Phumla, thank you very much for talking to us, and enjoy today's commemorations and I suppose celebrations as well, to see how far we have come. But the reality is we've got a long way to go as well when it comes to the youth of today. Phumla Williams is a spokesperson for government, talking to us here from government's perspective on their support for the youth. Well, as we head towards 6:30 here on this June 16th public holiday in South Africa.